She's staring at the email, and her heart is just pounding. You know that feeling. The subject line pops out. Interview invitation. This is it. This is the one, the job she's been dreaming of for years. But then, as she scans the details, one single line just makes her blood run cold. The entire interview? It's going to be in Spanish.
I mean, really think about that. What if everything you've ever wanted, your entire future, hinged on you finding the right words in a language that isn't even your first? Okay, before we dive into this, if you enjoy stories like this one, please do me a favor and follow the channel and share this. It genuinely helps us grow and lets me bring more of these stories to you. So for our hero, Anna, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was it, the job that could change absolutely everything. But that language requirement, it felt like a brick wall. Total panic starts to set in, her mind just racing with all the ways this could go wrong. But then, something else kicks in. You know, that quiet, stubborn little spark? Determination. She decides, no way. Failure is not an option here. So Anna's apartment, it basically becomes a command center. The coffee table just vanishes under stacks and stacks of flashcards, post-it notes with Spanish verbs are plastered everywhere like some kind of new wallpaper. And for days, the only sound is her own voice, just practicing, repeating, getting it right. This isn't just studying. She was building an arsenal of words, preparing for battle.
She started with the basics, right? Her professional history. At first, her voice was shaky, kind of uncertain, but she just drilled those phrases over and over and over. He estado trabajando por 3 años como recepcionista. I have been working for 3 years as a receptionist. And with every single repetition, her voice got a little stronger, a little more solid. These weren't just words anymore. They were becoming a part of her story. Next up, she started working on how to describe herself, her character. And this wasn't just about listing facts. It was about building her identity in this new language. Soy una persona puntual. I am a punctual person. Me gustan los desafíos. I like challenges. You see, each phrase was like adding a piece of armor, forging this new, more confident version of herself who was absolutely ready for this. And then the day arrives. The air in that waiting room is just thick. It's so quiet you could hear a pin drop, just filled with nervous energy from everyone else there. Anna's just focusing on her breathing, reciting her lines in her head like a mantra, and then the door opens. A woman with a professional but kind smile calls her name. Anna, it's time. She sits down right across from the interviewer, Miss Reyes, and then the first question comes. Exactly the one she prepared for. Please, tell me about yourself. This is it, the moment of truth. Anna takes the slow, deliberate breath. That panic she felt a week ago, it's gone, replaced by this quiet focus. And the words she practiced so hard for, they just flow out, smooth and confident. She talks about her studies, her time as a receptionist in Mexico City. She isn't just answering a question. She's telling her story. Miss Reyes nods, and you can see a little hint of a smile. Then comes the next big one. The question that really tests if you've done your homework. Why do you want to work for this company? And this is where all that research really shines. Anna doesn't give some generic, boring answer. She speaks from the heart. She connects her own values to what she knows about the company's reputation, their focus on attention to detail, and how much that matters to her. She's not just trying to get a job. She's showing them she fits, that she belongs there. So the interview's going well, almost too well. Anna's knocking every question out of the park. Strengths, experience, handling pressure. Her confidence is just soaring. She's thinking, I might actually pull this off. But right as she starts to relax, Miss Reyes leans forward and asks the one final killer question. And just like that, all the air gets sucked out of the room. This question, it wasn't on her flashcards. Her mind, which was so full of perfectly practiced phrases just a second ago, goes completely, totally blank. Her heart is just hammering in her chest. All that work, was it all going to fall apart on this one single question? She pauses, and the silence in that room feels huge. But in that tiny moment, something clicks. She lets go of all the scripts. She stops trying to be the perfect candidate, and instead, she just looks for the one thing her flashcards could never teach her, the simple, honest-to-God truth. She looks Mrs. Reyes right in the eye. She says that, yeah, others are qualified, but she has something extra. She always puts 100% of herself into her work. And as she says it, the polite, professional smile on Mrs. Reyes' face just transforms into this genuine, warm smile. It was a real connection, a breakthrough. Walking out of that interview, Anna had no idea if she had the job. But in a weird way, it didn't even matter. This huge sense of accomplishment just washed over her.
Because in that room, under all that pressure, she hadn't just spoken Spanish. She had found her voice.
So the big question, did she get it? Yep. The email came the next morning. She got the job. All that hard work, the preparation, the sheer courage, it all paid off.
You know, in the end, this story is about so much more than just learning some phrases for an interview. It's about what happens when you stare down a challenge and refuse to back down. The words, sure, they were the key, but it was her courage that actually turned that key and opened the door to her future. If this story moved you or made you think differently, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And make sure you're following for more stories just like this.